Cheka, Nala, Lemfi, all those companies are setting up offices abroad in the UK, in the US, in Canada. And then we're also seeing a lot of international companies like Cheka, like Volume Payments, Microsoft, Coda, Amazon, different companies are also setting up offices and recruiting in the African continent. So, one of the things we want to discuss today is number one, how do you position yourself for these opportunities, these roles? Two, we would also be exploring how to sell across borders because that's something that a lot of us would have issues with. Imagine you are employed as a salesperson in the UK, and then you have to get Nigerian clients. How do you manage that dichotomy between UK as well as Nigeria? So those are the things we'll be talking about today. So let's give a round of applause if you can put up your emojis for Isaac uh, for joining us on this call today. So if you're new here, let me take a few minutes to introduce the Tech Sales and Partnerships community and what we do. So the Tech Sales and Partnerships community is a community that was founded by two amazing people, Dara Ahmed and Titi Lokwe Makoli, to bridge the knowledge gap in the tech sales and partnerships verticals within the African continent. So if you are in account management, you're in sales, you're an account executive, you're in customer support, so customer success. So we have a community that answers some of the questions that you may have. It's also a community where we can talk to each other, foster partnerships, relationships, and also grow and build our careers. So that's what we do at TSPC. And then we have webinars like this from time to time to also improve our knowledge. So thank you once again, Isaac, for taking time to join us on the call today. So just as a form of introduction, can you give us a little bit of background about your journey in sales? You know, how you got into sales, the various companies you've worked with, and also how you moved to the UK and your journey with Verto and now Checker. So just a little bit of background into your journey as a salesperson.
All right, thanks so much, and yes, great to be here. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Where do I start from? So the first question was, if I hear you correctly, Ade, you're talking about how I got here.
Yeah.
All right, I hope you are ready, guys. It's a long story. Just
We're here
fast
for it. We're here for it.
your seatbelt. Okay, so I think if I look back, right, I my and one of the things I'm very grateful for is the background I had. My dad used to own a supermarket in northern Nigeria, and as a young boy then, every time it was holidays, they was go to the shop. So I used to go to the shop and of course help out to sell. Then he had like a bookstore. He had also he was selling chicken feeds and all of that. So I think I was just fortunate enough to have gotten into the act of at least exchanging value for money, right?
Mm.
And that was like, I would say that was the entry point. It's a thing that came in because of course I think I was I think I loved physics while I was in the secondary school. Just trying to remember how I got into engineering. And then everybody, I don't know if it's you guys to have the same thing. Everybody wanted to be an aeronautic engineer or that
Yeah.
is. So I also wanted to be an aeronautic engineer, but unfortunately, the schools that could at least get my dream to come true, I don't think there was anyone in Nigeria at the time. So I I think I applied for different things. I didn't get into most of the schools I wanted to get into. Finally, I got into Futmina as a chemical engineer. So I started off in as a chemical engineering student. While I was in school, my first year was okay. I found out that this thing is not for me. But I wanted to make money, so I started selling perfumes. I was selling perfumes, clothes, everything. normal hustler guy, engineer hustler guy, was making my money. I sold to everybody, including my vice chancellor. Um,
Wow.
as long as I knew you wore perfumes. In fact, if I perceive and I see that you're not smelling great, I'm like, you can actually get perfumes from me, and I sold really well. There was a time while I was in school, I remember that I would tell people that if I don't sell that day, I don't eat. Like, I was very hard on myself. Maybe because also, from my background, I didn't have like, like the wealthiest parents, so I wanted to find a way to cater for myself. So I used to, go to Lagos, buy these perfumes, send move that all down to Mina, and I'll sell throughout the semester, and that's how I was able to, help myself throughout. And I think that started building, human interaction, me being able to, manage objections, be able to convince people to buy my stuff, me be able to don't eat until you sell, like push myself to the limits. That's how I started basically. Then from there, I came out, started working stuff on the banks. OP called. I did it. I was one of the few guys in the early stage folks that um, OP hired. I did something with the bank first, but from the banking side of things, I moved to OP. OP was crazy. If you know OP very well, these early days it was very very crazy, and had a large team of people I was working with also the Chinese folks. We having not to go home sometimes for days. Like, we literally be sleeping at 4 points. I remember. I remember when I was leaving OP. If you know this 50 kg bag of rice, the number of OP shirts I had, filled the entire bag. That's sometimes I couldn't go home. I was just wearing. I think for about a year plus while I was at OP, I wore only that shirt. Like, I wore it so well. I walked around the streets of Lagos and controlled a lot of people, trying to get people to on board. Spoke with everyone that matters in the space that time before, I had to move. But one of the things I would say is, that taught me lots of like resilience, like going through it, even if it was very, very tough. I remember, every single day when we have some of these meetings we had with the folks in China by 3 a.m. at 4 points that time. You sit down in that meeting, you're not sure if you're going to be employed the next week because those guys were so brutal. If you don't have results, you're out. Like, it was that brutal. And yeah, so after OP, I got into Jetstream. Jetstream started off in Nigeria. Then I think there was the NSAS thing. The CEO just called me up, are you ready to come to Ghana? Can you come to Ghana, Isaac? And I was like, let me think about it. But I've said yes in my head though. I just wanted to, sometimes, let me tell you, you got a package even if you're desperate. So
Mm.
so I literally would, I said, let me think about it. But almost I started packing my bags, though, and that's how I found myself in Ghana, and it was fantastic. Like, Ghanaians are amazing people, different type of African. They, of course, Nigerians were a little bit more aggressive. We push, push, push. So I was able to learn to be calm sometimes, find find a sweet spot between what works for them and what works for me. But I think that experience really like opened me up to the international market. From Ghana, I went to Kenya. From Kenya, I went to South Africa. South Africa, I went to Egypt. Back, I think it was Egypt started. Then I came back to Ghana again, and at some point, one of the VCs that invested in Jetstream at the time just called me up that, there's another another portfolio company, which was Money Hash, that was recruiting. They were looking for a commercial lead for Africa, and that's how I took it up. Also, it's a technical role, but for me, like, I always tell myself, like you can do pretty much anything. I don't believe that there's nothing that we can't do. You just have to push yourself to the limits, right? Every challenge is always difficult, but you just have to take it on. So I did. It was very interesting. It was a fully remote job. I was handling the whole of the continent. I was going from different places to the other. At some point, I had to go stay a bit in Dubai, came back, Egypt also. Egyptians are quite different. They're Africans, but they're different in the way they think, they deal. Same across multiple regions. I started getting exposed into the UAE also, closed some deals in Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, and that's how the world started opening up, to me. And I think one of the things I am very grateful for is whenever I come into any business, I make sure I outperform the CEO. I mean, like a lot of people, when you're in sales, you're just doing it for the money, right? I get it. They get to a point where, yes, I understand we need the money, but my goal is, if I come into a business, like you can't outperform me. It's like, I don't know if we are all, but there's this thing I tell people: I labor more than them all. So that was just my when I think early days, right? I really would give my 520% just to make sure. I think with every company I have been, people always used to ask me if I'm the CEO. Like sometimes they forget that I'm not the CEO. Like I come in, I speak with so much authority, I speak with so much confidence and charisma that you think I own the business. I think it's just because of how I've put myself out there. Some people care about only what they own, right? But as a salesperson, I think first of all, we forget that our mind is the first place that we are made, right? Not necessarily, the different skills that we can get, right? Your mind, people can sense your energy when you are in a call. For example, I know everybody in this call, you're all happy. Like you cannot be angry hearing my voice, right? You're either smiling right now or you're laughing. Like there's energy that you're feeling the energy in the room. And that's whenever I get into any place, like wherever you are, whether you're the president of the country, you feel my energy. I see everybody look, I am someone of importance. And that's the first place. Like you see yourself as somebody who knows what the hell you are doing. And not just being charismatic for nothing. Some people they're just all full of themselves, but zero depth.
Substance.
Yes, substance. So like I know my shit. Like if I talk about payments today, I can tell you deeply about what it is. So one of the things that helped me, and I was always to say, is spend your 10,000 hours, like learn the crafts, understudy people who are doing it, do it, learn. Sometimes it's not just about immediate gratification, it's more around, being able sometimes we stay at a low paying job, not because we love the job so much, right? It's just because you might have to go to somewhere else that's going to pay you maybe a bit more, but you're just going to be blocked. It's a roof over your head, right? But you just know that when you have the right skills, you have the right experience to tell, you can actually speak to people. Because these days, forget about the whole. For example, a lot of people have gone to MBA schools, and I can guarantee you they don't earn what I earn, even with your Harvard University like qualification. It's not just about qualification now, it's more around what are your experiences. And most of the interviews I've been on, I say, when they ask me why Isaac, I said because of my experiences. Or when I tell you my experiences about how I lived in Nigeria, the challenges I got, I went to Ghana, Kenya, South Africa, talk about all of these countries, understand how their payments work. I know how the businesses work. I know their languages. I know how people pay. I can tell you about things like that. And I tell you all of these things. I'll say, oh, you'll be like, wow, yes, this experience is actually valuable. So for me, like getting here, experiences has made the difference. And just because one, I was willing and open to ensure that whatever it takes, I was going to get there. And then at some point, coming into the UK was opened to me. I came in, Veto was looking for someone, Veto FX, one of the leading cross-border payment businesses in Africa, was looking for an enterprise sales manager. They have been shopping for that role for a very long time. I came in with no experience in cross-border payments. I only knew PSP work, banking, for a bit of banking and payment orchestration, meaning I was not necessarily touching the funds at the time. PSP was more sales. I didn't really understand what was going, but I got into enterprise sales for a cross-border payments business. And it was a history that a lot of people who came into that role did not survive their first 3 to 6 months. And after 3 months, I passed my probation in the job. And after I think another 4 or 5 months, I got almost 50% increase in my salary, basically. And if you know, when you're in the UK, you get a 50% increase in salary. It's not a joke. For already, for for someone who literally just got into the country, a lot of people get into the UK, and they can tell you that it's a hustle. Like, it is very difficult. But sales is one of the things that the language is the same anywhere. Even if you drop me today in Saudi Arabia, I'm sure I will survive, right? Because it's the same every single. If you're a doctor, you might not be able to practice in another country, but if you're a salesman, anywhere they anywhere they put you, you can survive. Which is the most interesting, or one of the interesting parts about being a salesperson. And yeah, um, in order not to talk too much, yes, this is a little, like, high level overview of how I'm here. And then, yes, today, I'll just basically say, I said, you know what, I said, I think it's time to be able to look out for something else to be able to do. And somewhat got approached by Checker. They needed the head of Africa sales. And it was quite interesting meeting with investors, trying to talk about strategy of how to get into Africa. And yeah, today, leading the team into the African endeavor, or Africa effort, and it's been amazing so far.
Wow. There's a lot to unpack in that your story. I mean, I have like 10 different follow-up questions, but because of time, yeah, I will just ask a few. So one thing that's really sparked my curiosity is that for you, it's not even the management team or people on the in the company that are reaching out to you. It's the investors of the company, which shows like how deep your network is. And also, you uh, apart from the fact that apart from that fact, you really did not apply for so many of the roles you got. Like most of the roles were people coaching you, reaching out to you. I believe I'm correct.
Yeah, 100%. Virtual was not me. Checker wasn't me. Gesturing was not me. Yeah, I didn't apply to. I
And
think I think aside OPay and working in the bank, I don't think from there on then on I never applied for a job. I don't know. I'm not successful at that. I don't know how to apply.
I mean, that's really impressive, though. So my second question now will be, how do you position yourself for these kinds of global opportunities? What are the things that these companies, these investors look out for that make you so what like why are they seeing Isaac? Why are they not seeing every other person? What makes you stand out to them that they always come and pitch themselves to you rather than you applying or pitching yourself to them?
Good question. Thanks. So visibility is the first thing I'll say. Like, I'm very big on LinkedIn.
Sorry, I can't really hear you. Is it just me? It's getting muffled a little bit.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Okay, yes, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll say visibility is the watchword here, right? So I'm very intentional about being visible, right? Even like on LinkedIn, every other day I'm posting about something. I can rant some days, I can give insight some days, I can talk about how I feel some days. Like, I'm really just out there talking about the work and my day to day. I have a very optimized LinkedIn today. It does very well. I think I've got close to 19,000 followers right
Sorry,
now.
sorry, Isaac. Can is it just me, guys, or is the sound a little bit muffled? Can anybody put in the chat box?
Oh, you guys can't hear me?
Okay, yeah, now it's better. I think there's something you did now.
Okay, 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 okay.
Yeah. It's good now. It's good now.
Okay. Okay, better now. All right, fantastic. So basically, visibility is the key, right? And one of the methods I use is LinkedIn. I'm very, very vocal on LinkedIn, talk about what I'm doing. Sometimes when I even visit some clients, I make some signings, I take pictures in the office, posting online. I'm letting people know my journey. I'm talking about things that I do. Also, I'm very intentional about how I work, right, and what I go after. I choose my battles very, 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 very clearly. Um, you know, and also like letters from, and also with selling, like for example, myself, I sell to enterprise clients. So sometimes between themselves they talk. I need to introduce one person to the other person. It's just a very small world. Like, I mean, literally very small world. You might think that what you are doing today, somebody else is not watching. You'll be so shocked. So one of the methods I have used that has worked for me is I network deeply. Like, I know my clients very well. I know them. I chat them. I know when they're having something. I reach out to them once in a while, even if I have nothing to do. We have nothing to do, just to like be humans first. I do that a lot. I also, I'm very frequent on LinkedIn, and then I'm also very deliberate whenever I get into a new organization. For example, like when I got into Virtual, I can give you guys one of the cheat codes, and I'm out of there, so nobody can hold me. Immediately I joined, I knew I had 3 months to pass probation. It's a very hard thing to. I mean, with Virtual, they're very strict on that thing. So immediately I joined, I thought, wow, that's nice. The CEO, I primed the CEO before I got into the business anyway. But anyway, that's story for another day. When the guy was traveling to New York, I'll fix a meeting with somebody I know in New York to meet him. And I tell the person, please, when you're talking to this, my boss, please make sure you put in a good word for me, talk about what you can do as business. Even if the business doesn't happen, but shall talk to him. Some of them work. Some of the businesses will work. Some of them is just conversations. You go to Nigeria, I'm booking meeting with the head of treasury for Toleram Group. The guy is excited that he's meeting some top guys. He goes to this other country. I tell him, oh, I have a client to meet you. Please, can you help me meet this guy? Just to I'm 1 million up, 1 million up, and before the management, they see you as somebody who is very valuable, because I must say that is the first thing. And then once they see you that way, they talk. CEOs, they talk, founders, they talk. They are talking to investors. They're talking to, oh, we hired this new guy. His name is Isaac. He's doing very well. Our sales team is doing very well. We're getting some new logos. I closed some crazy logos while I was at Virtual. I closed the likes of Ant Group. If you know Ant Group, Alibaba, some of those very big logos, X Transfer, those guys were like, they were like very, very, very big names, Lian from China, Asia. I did some very crazy things when it comes to me being very rugged in terms of what I believe. Those things allow them to speak. They're happy about what you're doing, and then maybe somebody else is like, you know what, this guy needs to be in this other portfolio company, and maybe that's why. But I'm just saying, I'm intentional about it, whether it's between my colleagues or in-house in the company where I work, and also externally, right? You want to make sure that if you go on my LinkedIn today, Isaac Umejiaku, you will see like every single day I'm additional content, valuable content around what I'm doing and where I'm going to. I'm also connecting with global players and know exactly, that I can leverage their own, relationships and grow basically. So I'll say that's one of the key that has helped me, you know, in my career.
That's really, really good. That's smart of you. I mean, talking to people, booking meetings with your CEO, that's really a good one. Um, this LinkedIn stuff you mentioned, I'm just on your LinkedIn page now and I see you have like 18,000 followers thereabouts, or 19K, yeah? And there's something where I have that problem of posting on LinkedIn, right, these days, because it is usually too cringe. Everybody, you go for an event and somebody says, oh, here are 5 things I learned at this event. Everybody is just posting very base level content. And then there are also, this AI stuff has even made it worse. Everybody can just generate content in 5 minutes. So
Yeah.
how do you stand out? How do you stand out on LinkedIn that you get to have that amount of followers, and then not just having followers, because anybody can have 20K followers. But how do you make sure that you are relevant to these people and then they see you as not just somebody that is just talking, but somebody that is valuable?
Yeah. Wow. That's deep. Look, first of all, when you are generating content and you're putting out there, I totally understand you. Like, even me sometimes, I'm like, I just, as you said, let me just check LinkedIn. I checked LinkedIn now and I saw this guy in the beach. Like, yes, literally, literally on the,
Exactly.
literally on the beach. Let me share my screen and show you guys. Like I don't know what is happening right here, but sometimes as a professional, you might seem like, oh man, this place is another place to come and see everybody showing their stuff, and I get it, right? Sometimes I no, not even sometimes, I tell my team, I tell myself every single day, you need to look beyond the noise. Like, you need to look beyond the noise and ask yourself, what's your core objective? Your core objective is to find people. Like, you want to be able to find people. It's a place where you can find literally anyone. I was trying to find the CEO of Papaya, one of the biggest HR companies in the world. I found her on LinkedIn. I will tell you, today I'm building a business called Emerging Hire. I have not seen my co-founder eyeball to eyeball, but we have found ourselves on LinkedIn, right? And
Wow.
we started talking, and that's another story. But what I'm saying is, LinkedIn is so powerful that if you ignore it, it's to your own loss. Like, honestly, like, it's to your own loss, because people are out there maximizing a hell out of it, right? You can choose to say, you know what, I would go in here, I would do it, or you can choose to just leave. But one of the things, not to appear like somebody who is just, posting for posting's sake, is I understand where I am. So I'm in the payments field or whatever field you are. You understand what your customers are looking for, what they like to read, what they like to consume, what they are curious about. I feed them with it on my LinkedIn. So, for example, Monzo just recently, if you live in the UK or you've heard about it, people in the UK can now, from Monzo, convert from GBP into Naira and send to the UK. I mean, send to Nigeria. It's a hot topic. It merely dropped out. It came out. I saw it. Of course, I use Claude. I use chat, right? But it's not, one thing about ChatGPT and all of this AI platforms, garbage in is going to be garbage out. So I give it real context about what I'm seeing, what I know about the market. And it's because I have insights on how it really, really works. So I'm giving them real content that is authentic. It is fresh. It doesn't look like some cliche type of content. It's really something that is valuable to them to read. And immediately I put it out there, I saw people from Wise commenting. I saw folks from different parts of the payment industry, right? Actually commenting on that a lot of likes came in. It's not even about the likes, it's more around the people who are even commenting. Folks from blockchain.com are commenting, CCOOs are commenting. You can see the likes of people. You can see GTM strategy officers are actually commenting. This to show you that this is actually what my market is looking to hear or to see or to read. So, and that's the way to be a successful salesperson. You're not just somebody who is just, you're just selling what they gave to you. You go deep. When you go deep, the content will come out of you, and that content you can use that for your social media. There's so many hacks I also do. I use pictures of myself and maybe somebody I met when I went to a conference. I use all of that because humans are they I'm trying to look for the word again, but we interact more when you have pictures or videos, so you can understand what the platform reacts more to. So, for example, this particular post, right, of me, and this is me and the guy in Game of Thrones. I know that there's this guy in Game of Thrones, right? I met him in
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
a polo game. I took a picture. This is me. This is not how you should dress, by the way. Please, this is the English man dress, and these shoes are so bad. But anyway, it is what it is. Like, I put it out there. So the picture is showing something. People are reading. Some people are here just to look at the picture and like. Some people are here to read the content. But you can also see that the people who were see this guy is senior account manager at Wise. You can see a lot of people who are actually commenting on the platform. This is the guy with I think with PowerPay is one of their CEOs. I see people actually engaging with the content. So um that's the kind of content I give out to my audience and let them engage. In that way, respect comes, honor comes. If I send you an e-message and you look at my profile, you'll be at least pressured to answer. You know.
Fair enough. That's really good. I mean, I just saw on your LinkedIn you have like over 1,000 people viewing your profile. That's a lot.
Oh,
That's crazy. So now there is another question I have is there are a lot of international companies that have been expanding into the African continent, particularly Nigeria, right? Like Checker, one of them. There's this company, Volume Payments. There's so many other companies that are coming into Nigeria. And then there are other Nigerian and African companies like Nala, Flutterwave, Payaza that are launching in other markets in the UK, in US, and Canada. So why do you think we are seeing this trend now? Why is this trend so particular? Why is it now that it is happening in the tech ecosystem?
yeah. Um, it's no shock anyway. The globe is becoming one. A lot of companies are getting bigger.
Sorry, the sound is bad again.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's better now. Yeah, it's good now.
I said it's not I'm not shocked, right? Because a lot of companies are now growing. You look at Piazza, look at like you mentioned, Piazza, it's already like they're going really fast. They're trying to like they're in the cross-border payments scene. So it means they'll keep opening new corridors. Because of licensing, they have to employ locally most times. So, for example, some of the push for acquiring local clients is not a candidate. It's not because they want to. Sometimes it's actually a license requirement, or they are trying to localize the team, right? So
Mm.
that is a dead player. And one thing that you have to give it to the government. I know we don't like them all the time, but some of these things, right, is because of course if you want to come into my country and process people's funds, you have to hire people on the ground, right? And the thing is, these guys don't know everybody. They can't interview everyone. There are two ways they find people. They find people by people who are visible, maybe on LinkedIn, which is the most preferred way, or by referral. Somebody says, somebody can say, you know, do you know Isaac? He's just a place. Call him. He's the guy for the job, and they will come to you. I know how I landed a lot of interviews from my friends who just said, you know what, this person came to me. I don't think I can do it. Can you do it, Isaac? These are senior people that are actually saying, you know what, they can actually pass this with referral. So these guys are hiring either by referral or they have checked on LinkedIn. They have found people that they know that they can reach out to. So one thing I always say is, if you have the opportunity to actually learn, give yourself into any work, you can join any business and grow yourself there. Please do so. The world is watching. People are looking at you. Be visible about it. They are coming. Like, and this is just the beginning, right? Nigeria is getting bigger and bigger. I mean, the opportunities are getting bigger and bigger. A lot of companies are now moving into Africa. A lot. I mean, a lot of them. A lot of them. I mean, like literally a lot of them. I don't know how to explain it. I literally joined Checker 3 months ago. I kid you not. On my second month, I already had another offer from another international company ready to push me out of Checker, right? So,
Wow.
like, I was like, this is a good confusion to have. But what I'm saying to us is that visibility, right, is what changes the whole thing, and also your circle. Like some of us, I encourage communities like this, and also in communities, you want to speak out, you want to talk to people, you want to be vocal about what you do, you want to be able to exchange, you want to connect to yourself, you want to be able to be more vocal, because somebody in here might just be the person to change your, change trajectory of your career, right? Communities are great, right? It's an opportunity to be able to, grow. So I'll say to you, like, visibility, I'll say don't negotiate with that. Please do that if you're not doing that today. Take a lovely picture, put it on LinkedIn, post on it almost on a daily basis if you can. Nobody might be liking it today. Just keep posting. Be consistent, and you will see that in no record time, things will begin to work out for you.
No, that is a very good. That's good perspective. I mean, um, there's on this note you mentioned about community is really good. There's something an initiative we started. I think it's this month on the TSP community where, if you're looking for a partnership with a particular company, you can send a message to the group. I think we have it, Mujiba. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Is it every Thursday, right? Or every Wednesday? I can't remember the time. Where we'll post, and then people will say, "Oh, look, I'm looking to connect with somebody in Flutterwave. I'm looking to connect with a mid-sized fintech company with 10 to 20K users." And the first time we had it, I posted the kind of companies I was looking for. And okay, yeah, thank you, Mujiba. So it's bi-weekly, every Thursday. The hashtag is Intro Thursday. And when I posted it, somebody reached out to me and said, "Look, I have somebody who may be interested in you, in your organization." On the group, this guy introduced me to the company. And then just earlier this week, we signed NDA, we signed the contracts. It's a very good relationship. They have about 7,000 users that we can leverage on. So that is something that is very good that people on TSPC should leverage, right? And my next question is this. You mentioned something very, very important here, that just after 2 months after you joined Checker, someone else was poaching you. So how it's one thing for you to be getting a lot of offers. It's another thing for you to know the right company to join, because may we not make a wrong career move that will just maybe taint our careers, or hamper our career journey, or
Yeah,
set us back a few years. So
yeah.
how do you know the kind of companies to join, and why didn't you take the other offer from the other international company?
Okay. Wow. Thank you so much. That's a very good question. Look, in my career, if I tell you, it is not everything you see on LinkedIn that's everything. There's some of them. I don't know if you heard of this company called Tingo.
No,
um,
I'm not.
you have not. Okay, so look, I've also had my fair share of mistakes in my career. Like, I remember leaving. In fact, when I left, um, I'm trying to remember when. That was a long time ago. But I've joined a business before that, was a wrong move, right? And I paid the price. After I think I got my first month salary, second month salary. On the third month, I started hearing stories, support stories. But
Hmm.
somehow I was able to, you know, quickly correct and get into something. But what I'll say is, you know, life generally, like you learn, or I call it like this: you learn or you learn. You never lose. Like you never lose. And if you are too careful, sometimes you would never ever. I mean, you're too careful. You won't. And this mistake that makes us wiser. So right now, today, when I want to join a business, I know if it's a fake, if it's a legit business or not. For example, before I signed my contract, I was in Morocco with the investors. I know the investors of the business. I know how much check they were. I know the check they were cutting for these guys. I was sure it was a legit business. I researched the CEO down to his grandfather's house, and every everybody that's in that business, even if it's a small business, I knew they have raised 8.1 million. I knew they had money. They're not going to tell me, this month, or have you seen when a CEO wants to? I don't know if you have seen it, but a CEO will call you guys in the morning, start crying, and tell you that sorry, he doesn't have money that month. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that one. If you live in the UK, you pay rent every month. So please, yeah, I can't afford that instability. So what I'm saying is, I have failed, and that failure allowed me to understand how to research businesses. You kind of know who is backing them, who the person is. The person have integrity. You know, is this kind of person that you can see that has a lot to lose? You know, you check, but sometimes you can be overly careful. If you want to happen to you, to say happen to you. And I believe that our lives is like Google Map. I don't know how else to explain it. You know that even if you are going the wrong way, life will route you. The Google Map will route you to another way that will turn to another way, and you finally reach your destination. As long as you know your destination, I feel like you would always get there. Sometimes it might be longer. Sometimes it might be if you take if you make the wrong if you make mistakes, but enjoy the step. Like I know I got into a funny business. It was not as interesting, but do you know that in that business I got into that after the second third month they couldn't pay me. I met the former director for Heineken and marketing director for Heineken that also got into the same mess as I, and now became the marketing director for Serengeti in Tanzania. So when I was at Verto, the guy was Serengeti. Guess what? This is matchmaking made in heaven. He became my client. So what I'm saying is
So,
maybe that detour was to meet the guy. I never know. So I believe so much that God has a sense of humor when it comes to life, right? And sometimes you have to let yourself and go. Salespeople are a little bit more adventurous. You have to be open. You have to be very curious. Ask a lot of questions. I jump before I know how deep the water is. I'm sorry, but it's me, man. And that's it. There's the ups and downs of this type of life, I will tell you. But the fact is that when you look at it on the long run, you will have achieved a lot. If I tell you how old I am today, you will be so shocked because I probably have achieved a lot than some of my peers, right? And there are also other of my peers who have also done a whole lot more than me, but it's because of the way they have put themselves into opportunities. Like, there's this thing I used to hear in my early days with sales is get as many no's as possible. Like keep getting the no's as possible. I don't want there's one of my and I don't want to call him out. One of my someone I worked with, you know, this guy doesn't like to call prospect on WhatsApp, right? I had to push that. I said, call. Yeah, I was like, I don't know. I feel as if he was fighting himself in terms of like actually calling people on WhatsApp. And then I started giving him stories. I said, look, do you know if you know Beulah Group is a very big company in Dubai? I called the CFO on WhatsApp and I closed the deal. Like sometimes we get we get you know we stop ourselves from what we can actually achieve, right? So I understand you. I understand how you feel. It's terrible, but look at it deeply. There are a few pointers to point to knowing if a company is legit or not. Research deeply, don't go in blindly, but also be very open to opportunities.
wow, wow, that is really really great. I mean, I'm one of those people who doesn't like to call people on WhatsApp. Well,
Ah,
funny enough, the
you
first
have
time I
to,
did it,
you have to call
actually worked. So I went on Apollo, got this guy's details, and I just called him on WhatsApp. And I've also received calls from WhatsApp as well, where people were pitching me. And it just works. Well, it's something I'll keep trying anyway. So another thing here that is very important that you mentioned is you've traveled a lot. You've been to you have context of different markets. Now, in your current role, you are in the UK, and then you have a responsibility of getting customers in Nigeria and Africa. How do you bridge that gap? That's one. And then two, how do you manage working with different people with different cultures and different contexts? So when I used to work at booking.com, and then my boss, who was a lady, she came to the office one day and she was complaining that why is somebody sending her a text message on WhatsApp by 7 p.m. in the night. And I'm like, bro, like, what do you mean 7 p.m.? Like, I receive calls by 10 p.m., 11 p.m. Do you get?
Yeah.
So that is a context now in another market. You can go to Bahrain and their context is different. You can go to, like you said, you've got deals in Bahrain, you've got deals in Kenya, Tanzania, in Dubai. So the second question is, how do you manage different cultures and different contexts?
Oh yes. Wow, that's that's true. There are some, and let me give you guys a little secret. I liken human beings to different species of dogs. I like dogs, so but I can tell you different species. I call South Africans Rottweilers. There's some there's some these are very gentle. You have to know when is the best time to reach out to them and stuff like that. Ghanaians are different, Kenyans are different. Look, we're Africans, but all of us we are different species. That's what I'll just say. We have the way we like to be treated, the way we like to be greeted. Even in Nigeria alone, if you're talking to a Yoruba man, different when you're talking to an Igbo man, different to a Hausa guy, because of cultures, religion, and all of those things, right? I think one of your biggest asset as a salesperson is emotional intelligence, right? Just
Uh-huh,
being able to understand how somebody believes. So let me explain. When I was in Egypt and working with Egyptians also, these guys are the most direct people I've seen in my life. They are so direct.
uh-huh.
They will just like they will tell you as it is, and the next time they're raising a glass to you and they are cool. They don't have a problem. Like they and you see them talking, they are very direct. Like you don't say this, that, and they're telling you, but they're not angry. This is them. Sometimes even my dad and his younger ones when they talk, they're even an Igbo guy, you know. Sometimes I think that they're quarreling. They're not quarreling, they're just speaking their language. But I'm like, I don't understand. Like, why are you guys speaking top of your voices? This like this? Why you? I think you're arguing, right? But that's how they communicate, right? Understanding how people communicate and how they understand is very, very important. If I'm talking to a Ghanaian man, right? I'll be like, hello, Charlie, how you doing? Fine. Calm down. Oh, my friend, how are you? Fine. Sit down. You're talking slow. If you're talking fast, bro, so the guy is still trying to catch up with you, right? He has to hear what you are saying. And you know, us Nigerians were very like we're hustlers, so we are want to go to the next on to the next one. Understanding Kenyans, understanding what they like. The Saudi guys, they believe so well in relationships. Sometimes all the pitching you are pitching in Dubai, everything you're pitching, look, where you will close it is in the evening when people are having drinks somewhere, right? Same as some other cultures in English culture, even in Britain here in the UK, you see they don't really have all they do is that pub. They're in the pub standing up with their glass of beer. That time, the amount of deals you can close, you'll be working in the office since you will not close those deals. I can tell. So the thing is, understand the way they want to be spoken to, right? I'm not saying you should go to the pub or anything. I'm just saying that I kind of understand how different cultures behave. How, for example, somebody was telling me I shouldn't put. I'm trying to remember. Is it kind regards when you're sending it to a South African? They have like some weird things you have to understand about different,
Hmm.
right? So, and also sometimes they say that it's rude to send a South African an email like after 2 p.m. on a Friday. Like this is what the South African was telling me anyway. I don't know if it's legit or not, but I'm just saying like that's not what I hear because they'll feel like what's wrong with this person. So um really understanding the different cultures is based off of how they actually react. I mean, how they, and I was saying how they want to be treated. Once you understand how they want to be treated, then you can live in peace with them, basically. And that's what has helped me. Understanding different cultures. If it's French, if you're French, if you're in Russia, from anywhere, I've given myself to learning and asking questions. Just trying to find out about what's your culture, what is it. I try to learn a lot from them because I tell them about mine, So I tell them about how I am, like this is what where I'm from, So just in case this is not how you are being used to being treated, don't be annoyed. But I want to learn more about you, and they kind of see that openness and willingness for me to learn about their culture and themselves, and they drop their guard, and I'm able to work well with them.
All right, that's fantastic. So the other question, the first part of the question is how now that you're in the UK and you have to get clients in Nigeria,
Yeah,
Nigeria is a very, like you said, you have to build relationships with people, you have to talk with people. How do
yeah,
you now navigate that
okay.
now that you are in the UK?
Oh yes. In fact, there's this thing when I was preparing for this presentation or this conversation, there's something that I wrote down, and I think it's just good to share here. I said you don't have to leave your country to work for the world, right? The border has never been an obstacle. Being visible was go and get found. So basically, in terms of how I do it while I'm still there here in London, I'm still able to close deals in Nigeria is because I understand the way the Nigerian ecosystem is, right? Especially in terms of the decision makers. You understand the events they like to go for. We're able to catch them somewhere. Whenever I'm in country, I have a specific mission. I know who I need to meet. I've closed meetings. Sometimes if I want to meet Tony Elumelu today, right? I probably will not come to Nigeria to see him. I'll wait for him when he comes to London, right? In London, he's in a car, but he's not going to have 305 security guards stopping me from seeing him, right? You can even meet him in a mall and take a picture. Some of my friends will say take a picture and talk with him. I literally have one of my friends who met Olimelu in London here, met him in the supermarket. They had a conversation, they exchanged numbers, they got his email. On his phone there, he took his email and sent an email to the HR and said, please, this is somebody that is doing very young man I met in London. Please find him something in the group to do for us. And that's how that guy moved. I remember I met with the CFO, one of the head of treasury for Africa Finance Corporation. He told me how he met Tony Lumelu just like that on the street. And then Tony Lumelu actually flew him from London to Nigeria to have an interview and flew him back to the UK. Back to the UK. Now, this thing still exists in our world. One thing is that you don't necessarily need to be in country to actually sell into that country. Depending on what you are selling, right, you can do it from anywhere, right? I can be here selling in Nigeria, right? And I can also be in Nigeria selling to someone in the US. I can be in Nigeria selling to someone in the UK. It doesn't really matter where you are, right? All I have to do is I have to position myself in such a way that, whenever they look at me, they see what I'm selling, I'm able to, showcase what I'm doing. They can actually see the mastery, the charisma that you bring into the table or you bring to the table, and the ability to say, what, they can see you and say this guy knows what he's doing, or this lady knows what she's doing. She knows her onions. He knows exactly what he's doing. And that's what really changes the game for me, basically.
Well, fantastic. That is some very, very good context. I came into the UK last year, and then is I have a lot of customers that are Asian, Southeast Asian, Pakistani, Bangladesh, and then their culture is very, very, it's just different. You
Yeah.
know, they can talk to you for 3 hours, 4 hours about their families, about their country, and then it's just something
Yeah, and you
to learn.
sit down there and you listen to them and you talk with
Mm-hmm.
them. When it's time for business, it's straightforward, or simple. Yeah, it's very, very simple. And also, I tell people if you do a lot of cold calls, you do like sales calls, maybe try to see if you can get an international number sometimes. If you can get a +1
Mm,
or a +44 phone number, it helps, right? But I remember, and let me tell you a very real life story. Sometimes I feel Nigerians are classist. Um, I used to call some of my +3 2 3 2 3 4 number. We call him. This guy was not picking my calls. He'd be like, "But I called him once with my UK number. He picked and was telling me, I'm in a meeting. Please, I'll call you back later." And he called me back later. I said, what's the difference? What's the difference between this?" But anyway, I'm not saying that is the yardstick for us to be able to succeed. I'm just saying that, look, find what works, within what it is you are selling. Like I'm talking to you, I'm a very I'm aggressive. I'm very I would I'm a diehard when it comes to like if I want to close this deal, I will go to the end of the day to make sure that I close it. So if it's a new phone number I need to get, I'll do it. If it's to call you on WhatsApp, I'll call you on WhatsApp. If it's to send you emails, automate the emails, use sequencing, whatever the case might be, I'll do it just to make sure the deal is closed.
Wow, that's you see this thing you mentioned, yeah. Somebody gave me that OT a while ago. That just get yourself a UK number. That people are more people are more responsive to you. It was so this guy was a co-founder, and then he was always looking for funding, and he gave me the OT. He got a US number, and he just started seeing that people were responding to him more. So if anybody on this call, maybe anytime you have the opportunity to travel out of the country, you just get a number in that country before you come back, and then keep paying the subscription or something like that. Or if it's possible to get the number without going to that country, if there are any other options, you can just do that, explore that as well. So my final question would be, what would you consider as the emerging opportunities for salespeople who want to build a global career? Are there so now is it but when I say emerging opportunities, it's not only in sales, it can be in a particular industry as well. So because I see right now remittances, stable coins, those are like the and AI as well. They're the hot industries. And then enterprise sales and field sales are becoming more prevalent right now. So in terms of industry and then career vertical, what are the emerging opportunities you are seeing?
Oh wow. Well, that's a difficult one. So, um, yes, payments it's a good place to be, right? Especially because you know I don't think that problem is ever going to be solved. Uh, or like everybody's waking up. In fact, in Nigeria, I don't know if I were the Central Bank of Nigeria, I would literally stop anybody from opening a new payments company. Like it's like every some of those dreams that he just dreamt that he cannot send money from Nigeria to Ghana. He has opened a cross-border payments company. Everybody's opening one. So of course, there is a wave now. A lot of people are opening cross-border payment businesses or payment businesses. Eventually, some of them will die out. Some of them will grow. Some of them will be acquired. Whatever the case might be, but it's a good place to be if you're in the payment side. It's hard. It's difficult. Um, I wouldn't say it's over yet. For example, while I was in OPay, I don't know if you know the CEO of Lemfi.
Yeah, read on.
We both were in OPay at the same time. So we both worked together at OPay at that time. So, you can imagine that was years ago. But those talents that understood PSP and how it works has moved on and are now like very senior leaders today, right? Same as Tosin, who is the CEO of
Money
MoneyPoint.
point.
At the time, he was a product manager at InterSwitch, right? So, fact is, it's still a very valuable industry to be in. But I'll say the people who are really reaping a lot from it, people that have the experience, right? They've got the experience, so they are the one leading it. But it's not still too late. I met a young British guy in the UK when I came in. Very smart young guy. Young, he didn't go to the university. He knows Africa more than us ourselves. He's selling as crazy. Like he makes a lot of money selling to Africa. So he's new into the industry. He's just very like he's just very he's just a go-getter, right? So it doesn't matter, like it doesn't matter if you're just getting in now. So remittance payments is very good. AI is a new thing too, but I would say I think the general skill about being a B2B enterprise salesperson is what makes you valuable, right? Because a lot of transferable skills across different industries. So if you can sell business to business, which is where the money is, right? right? That's the first thing. If you can then do that to global companies, big companies, that's where the money is, right? You will be paid well, you have good career paths. um for me, if you do B2C, I get it, but there's a roof over your head. But if you do B2B, you can become a team lead that's selling into businesses. You can become, a manager, a director, a CRO, you can become a chief, a head of sales. You can become you can become so much. But if you are in a B2C business, it's I think there's especially for with the person himself, like person themselves, you might not be able to earn as much. I don't know. I might be wrong, and don't quote me. Please don't quote me. But I'm saying like the yeah, valuable skills with it will be on B2B sales selling. Um, if you can get into that into that, whether it's AI, whether it's payments, whether it's logistics, transportation, whether it's what else? What is really happening these days? But I think those are the hot markets, right? Right now, those are the
Yeah.
hot market. But just try to position yourself as a B2B person. If you're in the B2C space, fine and good, but begin to see how you can tailor into selling to other businesses, because that's where if a lot of people, remittance companies will tell you that they make more money when they do B2B. They don't really make so much money B2C. So if a company is not even making as much money on the B2C side, it means that you cannot be paid as much. But if you go to the
Yeah.
B2B side, that means you can make more money. So you can see a lot of people in Nigeria making $10K a month, 15K dollars a month, 5K, 3K, like that, you know, you know, because they're doing B2B sales. I remember when I was in Money Hash and I hired a few people that were like my sales executives. I was paying them, was $3,500 a month. So it means that like that B2B space has so much potential. But you might be in B2C, you probably need to be a director to earn 3.5. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So B2B space is very, very good. I think that's where, if you position yourself very well, if you have the opportunity, if you can get into that market, or you can gain the skills, right? That helps you, or that will help you to actually position well.
That's really fantastic insight. There's something you mentioned that at Veto, you people hardly spend 3 months at the role that you got. So enterprise sales is very hard, and the sales cycle is also very long, 3 to 6 months, sometimes 18 months, worst case scenario. However, how a lot of people, I was reading something on LinkedIn, one guy posted that the churn rate for people who come into sales is one of the highest in any career in the world. Because people, in fact, at some point, I had that conflict. I was like, oh, you see this sales thing, I'm going to leave this sales thing. So I now went into account management, right? So a lot of people leave sales, but they can leave sales and focus on other tech sales verticals like account management, customer service, customer support manager, partnerships, product marketing manager. So
Yeah.
from what you're saying now, right? You're saying where the best place to be in is still in enterprise sales, if I hear you correctly.
Yeah. So, and let me explain. You might be in, account management, customer success, whatever. You are still selling, right? But you are managing what has been. Someone has killed the meat and is giving it to you, right? To help and
Mhm.
roast it and manage it. Sometimes you have to do some upselling, so you need to still have some selling skills, right, to be able to still function in those roles. So it's still good to,
Mhm.
it's still very good, but it's proven that the highest earners are the hunters. So hunters are the guys that go out to go and look for business and bring them in. For example, one of my colleagues at Virtu at the time, he got his commissions for a whole year was $1 million. The company paid him $1 million commissions, right? I don't
Wow.
I don't think that you can be an account manager. No, you may be able to do account manager. There are some roles that customer success, you might not be able to earn those kind of that kind of thing, right? You might not be able to earn it. And fact is that if a company is also not positioned the way it need I mean, in a way that makes sense for you, you will not be able to actually achieve those kind of goals. But it's just proven that if you're a hunter, meaning that you are the one going out to go and fetch meat and come back, you make more money. But it's also not for everybody, right? Some people, you can't force it out. You don't have the temperament. I've been helping one of my friends to actually recruit salespeople, and we joined to an interview. He's my guy. I like the guy. He's my correct person. But this guy does not like human beings. Like, he literally doesn't like human beings. As in, on the calls, he's just talking. I'm like, I said, you can't even sell this vision to this person that's coming to work for you. Why would they come? So I told him simply, you know what? Don't come for these interviews. I'll handle these interviews myself. And when it's time for you to come and do your managerial and CEO work, you can do it. I get it. He's a technical person. He knows how to bring to life the idea you give to him to be able to execute, or he brings about, but he doesn't know how to convince anybody to do anything. Like, he's like, Isaac, please help me sell this thing. I know it's a very good thing. He has seen end to end that is good, but they are not good. So identify what your strength is and then position yourself. If you know you can be a hunter, train for it. And by the way, anybody can become whatever it is they train so hard to become. Like, you can see today, you might be a natural like Messi, unfortunately, or you can be a very diehard trained person like Ronaldo. Whatever the case might be, they're all goods, right? But you can start to be something else. You can start to say, you know what, I want to space for working. I want to play in the account management space. I want to play in this space, and you can own that place very well and also be top. The idea is that whenever I'm in any sector or any position or any role, I want to be number one, right? I want to make sure that when they say who is the best, who are the best three, Isaac and the rest. You get it. If you don't get it, you forget about it. But like, that's how I'd like to position, myself. So, and if you are the best in that particular set, the most likelihood that you are promoted, the most likelihood that you get more money, the better, and the most likelihood that you can get other opportunities, the better. And then if you're now very good at what you do, and then you are now visible both internally and externally, you will see how your value moves off the roof as quickly as possible.
Wow, that's fantastic. I mean, that's something that I will start drafting my next LinkedIn post now for the next few weeks. So one something I've noticed on this call is that you've been very forthcoming about mentioning about money. You know, a lot of people don't like to share, oh, this is what I'm earning, these are the things that you can earn. And there was a time I got involved with an international company,
Yeah.
and I had an offer from them. And it was when I spoke with somebody else, and the person told me, oh, look, this is what you should look to earn it because it is an international company. I then increased my ask from this company by 50%. And this company gave me more that 50%. So I would have lowballed myself by 50% if I had not just asked. I was talking to a lady who was working for an international fintech company in Nigeria, and then she was telling me that her salary was 40K pounds in Nigeria. A lot of people don't know that, okay, this is what you can earn, particularly if you were working for an organization that was paying you not so well. So how, if you don't mind, yeah, can you share how much you should be looking to you should be looking to get in maybe base and commission in the UK market and in the Nigerian market if you're working for an international organization?
Okay, so I would say, there are different types of international. Yeah. There are some international that the CEO is in UK and he employs 2, 3 people in Nigeria to do a business. That's not
Yeah.
that's not international. But if you see a business who, they are multinational, they've got multiple, offices here and there. One of the things I always do is I try to find out what they pay, what the benchmark looks like. And also, depending on how and the kind of role you are looking for, right? Companies do what they call localization. They try to benchmark based off of the country where you are living in, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of the things I did early on in my career is that I broke out of it. I told anyone that comes, I'm like, see, look, the work they are doing in the US, I'm doing the same work, right? So I deserve to be paid the same way. But you might not get that everywhere. So you have to look at the nature of the business, understand the game. So I understand the game. It's a startup company that does raised or something like that. It's a new company. They have no idea about what's going on in Africa, or you have been able to position yourself as so much of so much value that you can command some rate cards that are not peculiar or particular or peculiar to your, or specific to your local region. So in Nigeria, for example, if you're earning anywhere between 4 million a month, like for enterprise sales manager, that is pretty much where I think it sits, like 3 to 4, maybe 2, depending on the company. That's cool. When you come to London and enterprise sales manager, you probably are going to be earning anywhere between 70,000 pounds upwards. A lot of people who are not even good earn up to 100k pounds in the UK, depending on the industry also. So if you're in fintech, if you're in some other industries, it might be less. Sometimes people look at all these JP Morgan, you think that they pay them so well. They don't. Like literally, those guys are not earning as much as some of the mid-sized companies that are doing large volumes or are doing a lot and making a lot of money. Some companies to you, they are well paid. They are like out of this world. I've seen people who are making 500k a year, $1 million a year. They exist, and salespeople. So the fact is, you have to look at your region and typically understand how they are being how people are being compensated here. Now, if you're working for an American company who's coming to Nigeria, you know that in the US they pay well, they pay good wages, right? So you can know how to be able to price. Look at Glassdoor and see what the range looks like, right? Don't be always quick to mention this is what I want, right? In terms of like um, salary negotiations, I'll always say, like, what's the budget on the role? Can I know what budget on the role? If they ask you what's your current pay, you can let them. I can tell you, yes, it's what I earn, right? It's what I earn today. So because sometimes those conversations can be a bit tricky. Some people don't like
Mhm.
those people don't like to disclose, and when you don't disclose, sometimes the other party might feel, oh, what's wrong. But usually, it's also a red flag when someone trying to know what you're earning. Sometimes it's a red flag. Sometimes, I'm not saying all the time, sometimes it's a red flag. Sometimes they're not sure how to pay you, right? So they ask. But whatever the case might be, I think you always want to push for what their budget is on the roll. And when you see that, you cannot argue from a place of strength, right? Yeah, I'm going to give you an advice I don't take. I'll tell you, whatever they give you an offer, try to negotiate higher. But me, when I see offer and it's good for me, I take it. People say, Isaac, why don't you just try to increase it even if by 5k? I say, my guy, what about if I tell them 5k? Say you cannot do it and they go. So
Fair enough.
yeah, try to go that route. Honestly, it's very, very difficult, but you can leverage Glassdoor, some of these companies, some of these information websites that can help you know exactly what's being paid, and also know where the business is coming from. They're just new to the country. You might know that they may not necessarily understand the African scene. They may want to give you a bit lower, but at the end of the day, even if it's low, you'll still be earning well, in
Yeah.
country. So yeah, go out for international opportunities. There's so many of them. In fact, recently there's a lot of as an influx of diaspora. Well, for example, people like me, who are probably doing very well in the UK, in the US, and now they're trying to go into to do their thing. People from Google, because right now, all these big companies, Amazon, Google, all these companies, they are
Yeah,
laying their, they're
yeah.
laying off like chicken lays eggs. So uh,
Hmm.
so these guys are now like creating their own paths to life. Sometimes you just want to connect with them and see. Sometimes they will say, you know what, they see you as an authority, they can bring you in, they're bootstrapping paying, they will pay you a decent amount, maybe a million, 1.5. You can start from there, you're learning the skills that they have from working with international companies and doing great things. And before you know it rubs off on you and you can take that on to do better things. So yeah.
That's really good. I mean, the just like if I see a good at some point, if I saw a good offer, I just accepted it. Until one time I tried to negotiate better.
Yeah,
So at this time, I got an offer. When I was applying for the role, I put my salary expectation as 1 million naira. And at that time, I was earning maybe 250, 230. So
yeah,
I don't know where this courage came from. I just put 1 million naira. And American Express, American Express was also recruiting that time. They were recruiting just two people in the Nigerian market. They were building up their operations.
yeah.
And so they said in the first email that they sent, they said the salary was between 18 million and 36 million annually. And then there's still bonus on top with a lot of perks, benefits. You travel to the UK, which is where their Nigerian office reports to. You travel to the UK minimum twice a year, all those things. And when I saw that these guys were putting 18 to 36 million, by the time I got the offer for 1 million, I told the guy that, look, I'm not accepting this offer. That look, and I didn't even get the offer for American Express. They had rejected my application at the final stage. But one thing just said, look, I mean, worst case scenario, they will say no. So I told the guy that I can only accept 2 million naira for this role. This guy sent me a message on WhatsApp. He called me. He was basically begging me that, look, he has spoken to the VP in the US and this. At the end of the day, he dropped it to, we agreed on 1.5, and that was how I took
Wow.
the offer. But at like 3 or 4 months down the line, they started paying in USD. So they switched to USD, and then
Yeah.
the salary was like $1,500. So when you convert it, it was like 2.2 million at that time. That was when the naira was about
When Naira
1,800.
when Naira was Naira.
Exactly. Yeah. So if you like, for me right now, I negotiate hard. Like, bro, my eye don't
I'll tell
my
one
eye
last
don't tear.
story. If I like to tell love stories, but I tell one last story. So, there's one of the offers I got. So this was actually one of my customers, and I was just thinking, oh, this guy said, oh guys, let's have lunch, is it brunch or whatever he called it. I didn't know it was
Mm-hmm.
set up. They called me, and the CEO, another one, they met me, they talked. So after I talked, say, why are you this place? Now come and join us. I didn't know. I think it's a joke. Before you knew, guys were very very serious talking about their salaries. I just I just multiplied my salary by two. My salary by two. It's like in the bid to drive them away. Well, these guys gave me the offer. So
And
the
see,
fact is that sometimes you don't know the value people place on you, right? You don't have no idea people with the people value people place on you till you actually act. So like I'll say this, like at least you saw the light of the American Express, 3 million. I think I know the guy who got the job, Abasam in
yeah, that's the guy. Yeah,
yeah, so I know the guy, one of the guys who got those jobs, that job then. And I think he's still there up to now. He moved from Duplo into
exactly. American Express. Yeah,
yeah. So I can tell you that maybe he was even being paid more at Duplo. Maybe he took a pay cut to actually join American Express just because of the name and the branding. So sometimes these big companies they might not be paying as much. You might be so shocked, like some of these other smaller businesses will pay more than them. But whatever the case might be, right? Like know your value. Don't be afraid to ask. What's the worst case scenario? You lose the opportunity, another one will come. I understand it can be very, very scary, but yes, try to negotiate or at least try to investigate what the rate looks like.
yeah. Fair enough. Yeah, I mean that's all the questions I have. This has been a very very insightful conversation. Yeah. Do we have any questions from the audience? Any questions, just signify by raise of hands. Or Isaac, do you have anything you would like to share apart from what we've discussed so far?
Uh no, no, no. I think we have said a lot, like this information overload, but you know, I'll just say like go after it, be visible, um, like go after, as in like just go after it and outperform. Like a lot of Nigerians are very, I think we like to, some people, I think it's just the culture. They say, is it my business? Why am I giving my 101%? Look, the reason why most of us are not growing or people don't grow is because they just feel like it's not their business and they don't need to give the 101%. I feel when you're in a business, when you're in a company, whether you own the business or not, and you give your all and you work really hard, you are not doing it for the person that owns the business alone. You're doing it for yourself. That experience you are getting is for yourself, and it forever stays with you. They cannot take it away, right? So
Mhm.
that is the thing to always know. And from there, like if you have the attitude, it will show to the world. So just like, yeah, go out
No
there,
worries.
visible, do what you just see. Emmanuel hands down.
Yeah, Emmanuel, please go ahead with your question.
Okay. Hi everyone. Good evening. So the major question I have is, I keep hearing, and I know I keep hearing the LinkedIn advice, and I think it works because even my sister, she said when she challenged herself to start posting regularly, um, create content, she started getting like traction. She gets to recruiters. She gets like DM because she's trying to start up like a business, right? Um, so one thing that I guess I want to take away from you regarding that is, how do you, and I think somebody raised this up too, how do you create value? How do you differentiate yourself? Like what kind of principles I would say do you use so that you don't end up adding to the slop that's found on LinkedIn? Because I can't remember the person that said it, but he mentioned something about cringe. And I think the reason for that is um LinkedIn has become like in my opinion, has become like a slop a slop fest where people just try to just dump any kind of thing in the name of just creating content, right? So, and I feel like one of the things that really attracts me to certain LinkedIn profile is when I find them valuable and also genuine. So
Mm.
there are a few people that I've seen that really put out quality content. They put out, you can tell that they're being genuine, not just performative or something like that. And I feel like those type of people are the people that really get to get opportunities, not just the, oh, they sacked me today. I learned how to do XYZ all the time. Every time they have motivational, things to tell people. But I don't know. Like, I guess I want to also ask, like, what's your own like principles and strategies you use for that?
So like that's very good question, Emmanuel. And let me tell you one hack, right? So I have this thing called like Google Alerts. I don't know, and I'm sure all of us have know that thing, Google Alerts, where you can have alerts on specific topics. For example, I'm interested in VAPs licensing. I'm interested in 1, 2, 3, 4. I have a few things that I do, and every time this thing is mentioned in the net, firstly Google will send it to my mail, right, for me to read about it. I read about those things, and if it makes sense, sometimes I actually make content on it. Like I just take it, I tweak it a bit. I already understand it because that's what my audience likes, right? And I'm able to put that as content, right? That makes a lot of sense, and it helps you to be saying something that makes sense because one, it is new, it is recent, and it is not dumb shit. You're actually saying something that actually makes sense. So that's one way, and that's one secret I have that I use to actually give out content. I've got alerts that comes in every single day, right? I've also subscribed even into some some newsletters that come to me, and I can use that to Google Alerts. Yes, I'm talking about Google Alerts. Yes, I subscribe into some newsletters that also feed me with a lot of information I can actually use, and also because I'm in some rooms, right, that I hear stuff. For example, before CBN does says some things out to the public. If you are somebody who has been selling very well, you are close to regulators, probably will know what's going to happen. And sometimes I can be the spoiler alert. I would just like the government might, I would say something like, I think the government is moving in this direction, blah, blah, blah. But people will not say, I really, can it happen? Can it not happen? One day I said, people love banks, but people love fintechs and hate banks. It's like you know how to find ways to spice it up, but you're actually passing a message. It gives out good information. It shows that you are a category leader in what you are doing. You're actually giving good information. And sometimes too, don't be too over serious. Like, bro, I get it. Some days you are human. Sometimes smile, give something really cool, a cool content that doesn't make. Sometimes motivation, sometimes some other things. Yeah, it's fine. It's allowed, right? And then see what over time what your audience reacts to, right? And then from there you can build that up. That's what I'll say. I hope this helps you, Emmanuel.
Yes. I don't know if it, yeah, it does. It does. Like very helpful. But I wanted to actually add a follow-up question.
Okay.
And it's not necessarily related to this, but the reason I'm asking this is because I recall you mentioning something about working in B2C. Um and how where the money is at is in B2B, right?
Yeah.
So I currently work in B2C, a fintech B2C company, remittance specifically. Um, so I work as and this is my problem. I don't know if it's directly related to it, but the reason why I chimed in or tried to join this call was because the title hooked me, which is trying to go into the global markets, with my career. So my problem is I have too many. My current role forces me to focus on too many areas that's not really specific to one particular thing. So I've done a little bit of work in marketing, life cycle marketing. Then I'm also a data person. Like that's my primary um, endeavor. So I started as a data analyst, started working in other areas. I build internal tools that operations, finance, other departments use. And then I started working with marketing too. So build some life cycle projects, and then going into automation. And then I was trying to also help out with sales. Um, so it was last year that I started really learning about sales and trying to become more um, leaned towards sales and GTM engineering specifically. Um, but now the problem is I don't know how to encapsulate. I don't know if that's the word to use. Encapsulate this
Yeah,
chimera.
basically Ajala the traveler around the job.
Sorry.
You are basically Ajala the traveler around the job.
Yeah, pretty much. Like it's just like
Okay.
it's to
So
me it's a matter of tax and not a matter of like rule.
yeah,
Uh,
the company you're working for, is it a small business? You guys just still like under 30 kind of ish? Or you guys a big business?
I'll say mid. We're not super big, but we are okay. It's Afrex. It's not like I don't know if you've heard of them.
Afrex.
Yeah, Afrex.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, so that's me. See, look, yeah, I get it, right? So one of the things you need to know, you need to find something and own it, right? And that's what you own. Every other thing contributes to that thing, right? So, for example, you have a boat and not, I mean, what's the best thing to say now? You have an iPad. There are different things that constitute the iPad, but doesn't necessarily mean that everything can function on its own. So the data analysis, everything you have as a that you do around helps you to actually fulfill one goal. You need to identify that goal of why you exist in that business and what it is that your value add to that business, and that's where you are. Then from there you can really sell yourself out to people as that, right? So, for example, I'm in sales, but I'm a very creative person. So I'm creative when it comes to my writing. I'm creative I play the keyboard today. I play the drums. I sing. So like I all of those creativity expresses itself in different ways, right? It's not because that's what I was not born to become a musician. I don't think I can do that, right? But all of those creativity finds itself inside what I do. I know how to, I know how to talk. I've been able to develop that attitude or that skill of how to capture people's attention and hold them for a while. That is something I have learned, but it's not so I was born to become a public speaker. So, or I'm not a public speaker, right? I'm a salesman. So everything that you do is to help one particular side of your life or what's actually that's your main core to actually succeed. So you need to be able to identify okay, what's this core, and then you have to know that every other thing helps fuel what you do, right? To actually bring out the best in that particular thing that you are doing. So don't be I don't know how long you have been in the career, but don't be distracted. Don't feel like you are doing so many things. Everything actually sums up to become like something like that. I know even me when I was in Ghana, all of these things, I was everything. I was doing everything. In fact, while I was in Ghana, I would go and collect money from freight forwarders, put it in the car. I would drive the car to the bank with money, 3 million CDs. I'll be in the car. I would drop it, come into the bank. The bank, I'll go into the bank, I'll deposit the cash. In fact, they even gave me a unique counter. The counter manager, the manager, the manager knew the enter my com. There's a person I'll just come and collect my CDs and do it. I was not I'm selling, but because I was trying to hack something in the business and we're doing something, we're collecting cash. I was doing it. So all of these things is experiences, stories to tell. So it's part of your big picture, man. So just leave it and be happy for it and keep growing. Don't just stay where you are. Keep improving. You understand, man?
Yeah. So what
All
are
right,
some?
Emmanuel, sorry, we have to, in the interest of time, we have to take, because there are three more questions. So we have to take the other questions. You can connect with Isaac on LinkedIn if you want to ask more questions, please. So the second question is from Favor in the chat. She says, is there any tip for a newbie wanting to venture into tech sales? How do you build your brand and network without the experience?
Yes, first of all, connect with as many recruiters as possible. Connect with plenty of them. Connect with a lot of salespeople. Connect with them on LinkedIn. Follow them, see how they are doing, see what they are doing. Network with them, right? Like there's not something. Just watch them, like their content, comment. That's the beginning. From there, you can have a skill that you can see and you need to do. Find networking sessions where they find themselves, and then you can network from there. You get into the game. Find a role. The role might not be the best paying at the time you get in there, but put your head on the ground and start your grind, right?
All right, then. Thank you so much, Isaac. So, Samuel, please, can you go ahead with your question?
Okay. Good evening, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Isaac. Thank you, Mr. Adi. Okay, so my question here is, so from the narration you made so far about your journey, I noticed that you only transitioned once. That was from back from university when you were selling perfumes and clothes to banking, and then ever since then you've been doing things that were related to fintech and all of that. So my question here is now, did you not try any other industry aside that, like let's say real estate or manufacturing or hospitality? Or if somebody is trying to venture as a newbie, do you like just say, okay, you want to go into the fintech space and then you're not looking to other opportunities in other industries?
Oh, fantastic. So yeah, I definitely venture. So I can explain. I was CS Bank, PSP, OPay. From OPay, I went into Jetstream. Jetstream necessarily was not a fintech. It was a cross-border logistics company, right? So that was not necessarily a fintech. But I was fortunate enough that when I got in and I then moved to Ghana, they then started building a product called JetPay. And I was the one who now I used to call it now your baby. So JetPay was my baby because I actually was the one who actually helped that business to reach what it reached today. So that was it. So I actually moved into logistics. I did that for a bit and then went out. Also, some things like I said, not everything is on my CV. It is on my CV. It's what's there. I've tried out my hands with recruitment. So there's a time I worked with productive people for a bit part time. I mean, like I worked with them as a salesperson, but in the recruitment space. What else have I done? That's what so every other thing has been payment. So I've been more on the payment side. That's for sure. The reason is because I just felt like I just know and I can feel and see that the industry is a very good industry. So I don't want to leave. Right, I'm growing and progressing every time. You understand? In this industry. Other industries are nice too, but I don't have as much strength. Like for example, for them to go and sell a house now, I might struggle. It's not that I won't sell it, I will be able to sell, but I don't have the clientele, I don't have the black book to be able to sell in for a real estate company. So I just like focus to where my strengths are. But it doesn't mean like I can get bored. Like I'm actually officially getting bored of payments, but we'll find different ways to spice it up, right? So I get your point. I would think I think if you find something that you can become a master on, hold that and become a master of it. It's not, this jack of all trades, master of none. But I think yeah, you can do as many things as you want, but try to I feel like you should try to master one craft or one thing so that people can know you for that thing. Then you can always try to, you can know other things, but at least try to be a master of one. So when it comes to payments, I dare say that I'm a master, payments, I mean, when it comes to payments, I mean sales around payments, I guess I'm a master. But then there are other industries. I think I've done recruitment, I've done logistics before. Yeah, thanks.
All right then. Thank you so much, Samuel and Isaac. So the last question will be from Idono. Unfortunately, we won't be able to take any more questions after Idono. Sorry, I hope I'm pronouncing that name correctly. But Idono, please go ahead.
Yes, that's right. Joe, thank you so much. My name is Idono. Almost there, but I appreciate my name in several different ways, so it was very close. Thank you very much. This has been a great session. Isaac, I've learned so much. I appreciate you sharing your experiences with us, and TSPC for putting this together as well. Very much appreciated. Mr. Isaac, yes, I did want to ask. I've applied for a few. I've been invited to apply for a few global roles as well. Always in sales. I do find it a bit difficult getting past, because the ones that I have applied for, they usually have an initial video screening where they will say, after you've sent in your CV and all of that, they'll then ask you to submit a short video talking about that tell me about yourself video. And for the few that I have applied for, I haven't really been able to get past that particular point. So I'm beginning to wonder, are these ghost roles, or is it something that I'm saying that is not, is there a better way I could present information about myself? For salespeople, we're usually advised to put our numbers first, the numbers first in your CV and your LinkedIn, numbers first everywhere. How would you usually introduce yourself in a hiring situation? What things are important for you to present first, or so upfront information that you feel like will put you in a better position if you are invited to apply for a role like that?
Fantastic. So yeah, I hear you. So you do like lots of video interviews, and then you just get the rejection mail.
Yeah, I'm wondering, are these people real, or what's going on? So
I'll tell you for free. They are real. So they are actually real. When last I checked, we have about how many billion people in this world? Like there's a lot of people like you actually applying for that particular role. So the competition is even harder now. And sorry to break the news too. They are firing people in Google, at Amazon. These guys are looking for job desperately. They are going there. They understand the algorithm. They know how to do these things, right? So, sorry, me and you were at disadvantage. But let me tell you the hack. The hack here is, it's not about you. If in a recruitment process, it's not about you at all. It's about the company. Like, think about it that way. If you are for example, okay, you are a babe. So if you look at a guy and maybe you like this guy, right? And you want to be able to draw his attention, right? If you find out what he likes, that's what you're supposed to do. Same as the opposite, as if you find a lady and you like that person, you do what the person likes. Let me explain what I mean. If somebody is hiring, I want to find out what this company really trying to achieve. Are they trying to achieve customer acquisition? Are they trying to scale? Are they trying to break into a new market? What are they trying to do? What's the objective of that role? Sometimes I find when I go on LinkedIn, I check who is the hiring manager. I try to connect with that person. I try to understand what exactly they're looking for. Then you can now apply. My co-founder, she's currently working at Google, and she tells you about her story when that she how she got her Google job. It was very, very interesting. She networked with the person, the hiring manager from the person's LinkedIn, like that role. So when she now applied, she gave that person say, "I've applied." They will say, "Okay, thank you," and then he will take that application very, very seriously. So all of these buffers, all of these systems is designed to be able to manage so many applications. Those things are not perfect. Like they will jump me and you that are perfect candidates for roles that we can actually do excellently well. Like I told you, last time I applied for a job is a long time ago. I don't most of the roles I've landed, I didn't apply for them. So that visibility is important. That's the first thing. Then secondly, when you are trying to show yourself, you want to show yourself in the eyes of how what the company is looking for. So you try to find out what exactly appeals to them at this stage and use that as a hook of what you want to use to go, how you want to be able to use to go in and actually get the job. Also, network. When you see a role that has been put out there, if it's a LinkedIn role or whatever, go to the company's page, find out who is hiring, connect with them, send them a message that you look at this what you want, pitch to them on link on their DM, right? Look, I say the desperate person takes it by force. Like these things work. I've had somebody that got to my DM and DM'd her way into a job. Like, okay, I can do this thing, give me opportunity. Let me just land me the interview. Just land me the interview. If I can land the interview, I don't like me, forget. If I can land the interview, that's all. I say, okay, now interview, the person came, finish work. I didn't want to talk to another person. You understand? So that's the thing, like the competition, there's a lot of things that people are struggling to actually get into roles. So we have to be very intentional about how we do these things now. Look, it's not an easy time, I can bet you. Anybody who you see is occupying a position today, there are 100 people that are ready to take that position away from you the day you drop it. The day you say you're not doing it again, somebody else is going to take it from you. So we're all in that place, right? So it's important to understand how to find information, how to find opportunities, and how to seize them, right? All these solutions that they have brought out there. I'm even part of the people. I'm bringing solutions to help companies even manage it even more, right? It's even going to get more difficult, But someone says in my DM, voila. So I mean, right? Do that, and then you see how you would get some success. It's not easy. Like honestly, it's not easy, but we just have to do it anyway. It's in the numbers. You're a salesperson. When you are looking for a job, I take it as a sales job. It's a job to find a job, right? You want to be able to apply to 10,000 companies. Get there. You are at it. You are prospecting. This is the company. Who do I talk to in this company like that? You take it on you, and then before you know, you land your next role. I have seen a lot of people do this and I'm successful for them.
All right, then. Thank you so much, Bonnie, for that question, and thank you, Isaac, for the context and the answer as well. I believe this has been a very, very insightful session. There's something that Isaac has continued to mention in all of the answers he has given to the questions and our conversation so far, which is community networking, building relationships with people, not just for your roles, right? Not just for your like looking for sales, but for even your career. Now, fun fact, when I wanted to move to the UK, the co-founder of this community, Dara Ahmed, was one of the people that wrote a recommendation for me for my global talent visa, and then I was able to get it. I got the visa. So if I didn't know Dara from this community, I probably wouldn't have gotten that visa. We are having a community hangout, physical hangout, where you can meet everybody in the community. You can talk to Dara directly. You can talk to Titi. You can talk to Mujiba and other people in the community, right? And it's going to be a cinema hangout. It's happening at Landmark Event Center on the 11th of July, 2026. So it's happening next month. You can come and talk to people. There are some people that have solutions to the problems that you have. There are some people that can help you scale up a level ahead in your career, or they can introduce you to your next employer, right? So I would implore everyone to is there a link for registration? I believe Mujiba has dropped it in the group chat. So it's on the 11th of July. Yeah, Mujiba has dropped it on the group chat. Please, let's try as much as possible to be there. And also, you can, there are a couple of people here that maybe are not members of the TSP community. Mujiba, please, can you drop the link to the community on the chat box as well? If you want to join the community, you can join the community on Slack. We also have a LinkedIn channel. We have Twitter and Instagram as well, I believe. So you can follow us on any of these platforms. You get notified of our upcoming events, our webinars, our physical hangouts, and any other thing that we are doing in the community. All right. And as you can see from this conversation, it's a very, very insightful community. It's a community that will help you scale up in your career. So thank you once again, everyone, for joining the call. I mean, we started the call with about 23 people and there's 17 people here. So that's like a churn of just 5 people, which is quite good after almost 2 hours of being on the call. So thank you everyone for joining the call. Thank you, Isaac, for making out time out of the busy schedule to join the call as well. So yeah, that's it. You can connect with Isaac on LinkedIn and then follow us at TSPC for our subsequent webinars. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, guys, and see you when we see you. Bye, guys.
Thank you, Isaac. Thank you, Koija.
All right, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Isaac. Like I said, I'm your DMO.
No problem.
All right, then. Bye, guys.
Yeah, bye.
Bye, Rashida.